Thanks, guys.
Our forearm stuff here.
Oh, do I sit in that?
Yeah, so camera person number 2, you can maybe come around to the side here. Yeah, camera 1, camera 2, it makes sense. Although I guess you're the only camera person. So.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Generally seated, forearm resting on the table is going to be a good spot to do a lot of these palpations here. And then I have room, cameras have room. Okay, so you guys covered like the bony structures for the most part around the elbow, so we'll get into more of the muscles. Good place to start is kind of thinking about, you have your kind of open space here with your fossa, so you have extensors coming from the lateral epicondyle coming down more on the back side. You have flexors coming down on the medial side. As far as the palpations go, I'm pretty sure the only flexor on the list really is actually, what? Yeah, Pronator Teres. So that's going to be, if you're in the groove here, the first muscle belly that you kind of roll onto coming this way here. Confirmation would be pronation, so go ahead and push into my hand, and I feel that pop right up into my finger here. I am correct that there's no flexors, correct? It's all...
No, you have flexors.
We do have flexors.
Wait, hold on. Yep, I like it.
So,
I was thinking, yep, he's
so you should know your other muscles coming in this way. The rule that I used to memorize it was called pass, fail, pass, fail. So you have pronator, teres, flexor should be Carpi radialis longus, and then palmaris longus, very good. Do you want to teach?
No.
And then flexor Carpi ulnaris running down this way. So if you wanted to palpate all of those, you could progressively work your way down. Obviously, flexor Carpi radialis longus would deviate into radial deviation with wrist flexion. Ulnaris would go the opposite direction. Palmaris longus, does anyone know what that one does? Yeah, it kind of brings everything together, so you would just kind of have them scrunch their hand together. Yeah, some people don't have this one. Some people do, so that's just worth noting. The lateral side, we are going to palpate everything over here, including our brachioradialis. So brachioradialis, best to be in neutral position, thumb up towards the ceiling. This one is even nice. Sorry, there's 2 cameras going on here. Go ahead, just flex your elbow for me. And this nice, big, meaty structure to pop up here. So this one's going to be like supracondylar ridge, kind of more distal humerus. And that's going to be your big, meaty one coming down here. So I actually just did the confirmation before I even palpated anything, because this one usually pops out so nice. Makes it very easy to find there. And then kind of working your way down. We're going to have extensor Carpi radialis, longus, and brevis. The muscles, you're really not going to be able to get on brevis too much. There's a little opening in the proximal aspect here, but as you move down further, longus, they kind of merge together. So, coming off of brachioradialis, the next one should be extensor Carpi radialis longus, and then brevis would be in this small position here. And then I'm actually going to do 3 fingers here, and I'm going to try and palpate Extensor Digitorum all at the same time. So go ahead, extend your wrist and radially deviate up into that position. Very good, and relax. So under what is you can't see it too good on that camera, my pointer finger here would be radialis longus. My middle finger would be radialis brevis, and then go ahead and wiggle your fingers for me. And you'll feel a little bit under your other 2 fingers where radialis, longus, and brevis are, but the majority of what I'm feeling contract is under what is my ring finger here. So moving all of the fingers gives you extensor digitorum. The videos might show you there is a technique when you're really trying to differentiate, and the acronym, or whatever it's called for this one, would be little black dress. So Longus, Brevis, Digitorum. So you can do resistance to just this finger here, and you should get more of a contraction of Radialis longus, Radialis brevis, and Digitorum. Why is that? Does anyone have any idea? Did anyone go ahead and watch one of the videos of the older ones talks about it? So there's no direct muscular connection. Extensor Digitorum does. The tendons extend the fingers. So that one will have attachment down here, but for Extensor Carpi Radialis, it's a fascial attachment, which is why biasing these fingers can help you differentiate between the two. So you guys can play around with that. On the practical, we probably won't ask you to do that differentiation, but knowing that it exists if you wanted to get super specific is very important. And then the most lateral is going to be Extensor Carpi Ulnaris. So you can go ahead, extend, and ulnarly deviate your wrist into a little bit of extension here and relax. So sometimes for these ones, I'll actually start laterally and work my way in, because you know you have the bone of the ulna, and then the first one you roll up onto is definitely ulnaris. Whereas sometimes if you start on what is actually technically the lateral, this all gets confusing due to anatomical position, but this is technically lateral, working your way medial, even though when we pronate her, it looks like the opposite. So sometimes like finding brachioradialis and working your way medial, you can get a little bit more lost. So whatever you feel more comfortable with, there's no one, specific way for most of the palpations to land where you're going to. So play around with those ones. We'll start with that. We'll come around and